With your words and my voice, we can make an unstoppable creative force, Hangwon-jun. Executive accountant and financial advisor by day, fic writer by night. Lanjan spent his days working at his family's accounting firm. Cold, calculating, stringent. But Lanjan found a way to break through the monotony with writing. Fic writing. In fact, he's quite good at it. So good, he catches the eye of one of the most popular, up-and-coming podficker, the Yiling Laozu, who simply adores the fantastical writing of the deeply respected Hangwon-jun. Except, there are just a few issues. 1. Lanjan begins to struggle with growing feelings, not knowing that the Yiling Laozu feels similarly. 2. That man is his new client. Your words, my voice. Written by Average Fandom Enjoyer. Read by Gem Asteria. Art by Kanogi. Rating teen and up audiences. Core tags include Alternate Universe Canon Divergence, Alternate Universe Modern Setting, Mutual Pining, Writer Lan Wen-ji, Podficker Wei Wuxian. Writing was an escape for Lanjan. It was a form of peace after a busy day at work. He was so used to maintaining such a stringent facade as an executive accountant and financial advisor at his family's firm. Lanjan loved math and numbers, but they were nothing compared to the thrilling bursts of energy and adrenaline he felt when writing his newest story. Mystical worlds, daring feats, suspenseful slow burns, various AUs and tropes. Lanjan enjoyed writing for all of them. Here, he could bring to life everything that couldn't be done with simple calculations. It made Lanjan feel. Writing helped him express his emotions. It helped him rebel against strict routines forced upon him during his childhood and now by white-collar work culture. Traditions run deep, and sadly, it prevented him from pursuing his dream of becoming a writer. But Lanjan wasn't one to give up. This was his secret. A guilty pleasure, a hobby, one where he had accrued quite a cult following within the fic writing and fandom community. He didn't write to please anyone but himself. Yet, Lanjan found the community support to be comforting. He was happy they were along for the ride, no matter the story or work in progress. Through his own fic writing, he first discovered podfics by the infamous Yiling Laozu. The Yiling Laozu had an extraordinary ability to insert tone, emotion, and realness into the podfics they produce. Lanjan found himself mesmerized, captivated, so much so that he created a social media account specifically because of the Yiling Laozu. He wanted to be able to be notified when a new podfic became available, to keep up with them, but from afar, a silent supporter. Surprisingly, having a social media account and interacting with other fic writers was fun? It was unexpected, but Lanjan appreciated the small interactions and bursts of creativity gained from those interactions. It made writing for himself all the more enjoyable. Lanjan continued with this new form of enrichment as well as his day-to-day tasks, the rather boring but no less important ones, until one day he opened a social media application on his phone to find a direct message request. And it was just not any direct message request. It was from the Yiling Laozu. Lanjan surprised and stopped there because the Yiling Laozu had also followed him back. Upon opening his direct messages, Lanjan finds the Yiling Laozu's message. Hangwon-jun, I just finished reading your fic Yearning. The depth you brought to your characters, their deep devotion towards each other, it's unlike anything I've ever read before. I knew I had to reach out immediately. Breathe out emoji. In case you haven't come across my work, I do podfics. I was wondering if I could do a podfic for Yearning? With your words and my voice, we can make an unstoppable creative force, Hangwon-jun. Obviously, you still retain ownership of the material and such. I'm just a huge fan of your work. No worries or hard feelings if you don't want this to be made into a podfic either. Heart hands emoji. Hope to hear from you soon. The Yiling Laozu. Fox emoji. I'm just a huge fan of your work, unlike anything I've read before. Do a podfic? Fox emoji. Adorable. While slightly intimidating, this was immensely exciting for Lan Zhan. The Yiling Laozu used emojis. This was adorable, but Lan Zhan had to pause his fanboy moment so that he could actually respond to the Yiling Laozu's message. Yearning was an immensely special fic, and Lan Zhan wanted to make sure the podfic would capture certain moments. That was something to think about later. He needed to respond. Yiling Laozu, thank you for your kind words. Yearning was and still a special fic. I would be amenable to a podfic and further working with you in this regard, as I'm also a fan of your work. However, I would like to inquire about your plans for its delivery, and what you make of the characters, and how do you plan to portray them. I understand this might be a strange request, but look forward to hearing from you to further discuss. Han Wenjun, bunny emoji. Would Lan Zhan normally sign his pen name with an emoji? No. This was an exception, though. Now, to wait for the response. Wang liked to talk. A lot. What was the point of having a voice if not to use it? He also loved reading and found solace in fics during college. It was through his fic reading that Wang discovered Podfix, which led to an even deeper dive into podcasts. Wildly enough, it's through his deep dive that he landed his current gig as a radio disc jockey and host. His afternoon show with his co-host Ne Waisung was one of the most popular in the city. Despite this success, Wang never stopped reading fics, nor did he stop making his hobby podcast. What were the odds that someone would actually recognize his voice, much less live in the same city? Wang figured they were pretty low. On one of his days off, he just so happened to stumble upon a fic titled Yearning by Han Wenjun. This fic? It was magnificent. It was filled with passion, hurt, comfort, deeply devoted characters and their story. Oh, their story. Wang actually cried while reading it. Like a true, gut-wrenching, but satisfying ugly cry. He felt the emotions the characters felt. He could see the story as if he were one of the main characters. Wang felt the story within every fiber of his being and knew it was special. He had to make a podfic of Yearning. Thankfully, Han Wenjun had social media and embedded a link to their profile. It did not appear as though they were incredibly active, but this made it much easier to connect, or attempt to at least. Wang needed to make sure the message of his tone hit the way he wanted it to. After a bit of editing, and a signature emoji thrown in for extra cuteness, Wang sent his message off to Han Wenjun. He was eager to hear back, regardless of Han Wenjun's decision, but Wang hoped they would say yes. Much to Wang's surprise, he received a response quite quickly. Han Wenjun was amicable, extremely professional, and polite. However, they agreed. Wang was so excited he was practically vibrating out of his chair. Now, the real work began. Wang wanted to make sure he met Han Wenjun's expectations for character portrayals. They set up a schedule with a series of check-ins, allowing Wang the time he needed to record while also giving Han Wenjun time to review the sound bites. It was a blissful little partnership, and one that Wang would miss immensely once the podfic was completed. At that time, there was never really a need to communicate outside of email correspondence. Wang couldn't help but wish for a voice call over Discord before their work together ended, to hear their voice just once. That wasn't necessarily realistic or safe. Wang would need to deal with his parasocial endearment, for that's really all it could ever be. Besides, he had a lot of other things that required his attention and focus. One of those things being adequate preparation for an upcoming meeting with his new accountant. Wang garnered quite a bit of success from his The Burial Mounds podcast, and he needed all the help he could get to ensure his money was managed well. However, he found this task to be particularly annoying and boring. Wang would have to power through and just stay focused. Soon, thanks to a favor from Ne Waisung, he wouldn't have to worry about the numbers and he could continue to create in peace. Working with the Yiling Laozu was one of the highlights of Lan Zhan's day. He looked forward to every update and interaction with a man who was bringing his Vic to life. Working with them was so easy. It felt natural, and in Lunjan's experience, this was quite hard to come by. Lunjan knew that this was temporary, that when the podfic was finished, the Yiling Laozu would move on to his next podfic. Lunjan was aware that their interactions would be cordial at best. There were no obligations for further interactions unless they collaborated again on another podfic, which Lunjan would be enthusiastically in favor of. Yet, this was awkward. Lunjan hated feeling awkward. When he felt awkward, it became harder to communicate. Unfortunately, this awkwardness made it difficult to express a particular point of feedback to the Yiling Laozu within their recent communication. It wasn't often that they felt the need to use verbal words or written ones, but this evening happened to be one of those rare instances. Lunjan just needed to discuss it over a Discord call. There was no other way around it, and he didn't want to hinder the Yiling Laozu's schedule. The worst that could happen would be a refusal, but the best outcome? Lunjan would be able to speak with the Yiling Laozu directly. It was enough temptation. Hangwen Jun types, I'm finding myself in a position where I cannot properly articulate what I want to communicate in a textual format. Is there any way we can have a Discord call? I understand you would prefer not to, or if this oversteps any boundaries. He sends the message and waits for a response. Lunjan never has to wait long. Yiling Laozu. Sure, we can do one right now. Go ahead and give me a call when you're ready. That was easy. Simple, even. All that was left was to initiate the call. With his headphones ready, Lunjan taps the call button and waits. 1 ring, 2 rings, 3 rings. It's on the 3rd ring that the Yiling Laozu answers and Lunjan's heart flutters as he's greeted. Hiya! How's Hangwon Jun doing on this fine evening? Well, assuming it's evening for you. Time zones are a thing, I suppose. The Yiling Laozu was delightful, bubbly, and energetic. Lunjan almost forgets that he needs to respond. I'm well. Thank you for asking. How are you doing this evening? It's basic, but it gets the conversation started. After exchanging pleasantries and a bit of light small talk, they get down to business. They make a lot of progress. Lunjan found it enjoyable and easy to communicate with the Yiling Laozu. He learned that the Yiling Laozu had a terribly, yet affectionate, cheesy sense of humor. Lunjan found himself unable to stay completely silent for some of the jokes. Somehow, they were able to stay on task. Ah, I see. That makes sense, Yiling Laozu exclaimed. This was much easier to discuss over a call. Plus, it's so nice to chat and collaborate this way. We could totally switch the calls if you want. Lunjan absolutely wanted to switch. No one needed to know that it was for purely self-indulgent reasons or that he usually hated talking on the phone. Things were somehow different speaking with the Yiling Laozu. Less exhausting. If anything, Lunjan felt lighter. That would be amendable. It has been nice getting to speak with you as well. You have a nice voice. Lunjan replies, pausing just slightly at the boldness of his own words. You flatter me, Hangwen Jun. But I could say the same for you. The Yiling Laozu's laugh was joyful, slightly gremlin-esque, but it was endearing all the same. Lunjan felt his ears warm in response to the compliment. His internal musings were interrupted by the Yiling Laozu. I'll finish this up and send you the audio file for a final preview before we get to posting. I have to call it a night. Early morning tomorrow, not nearly enough caffeine. You probably know how it is. Lunjan, who was used to early mornings, did not know, but in response, and the Yiling Laozu continued. Anyway, I'm just rambling. Let's chat again soon, okay? Good night, Hangwen Jun. Good night, Yiling Laozu. With that, they both hung up and Lunjan closed out of Discord, letting out a deep breath in the process. They had spoken once, and Lunjan was fairly certain he had a crush. It was best not to dwell on that for now. It's not like he would actually meet the Yiling Laozu in person. Best to keep this in check and focus on reality. With that final thought, Lunjan completed his nighttime routine. The way Wei Ying loved collaborating with authors to do podfics, it was so fulfilling and fun. Things were no different with Hung Wenjun. In fact, they were more enjoyable. It was just so easy to speak to Hung Wenjun, and they had only spoken one time. However, agreeing to a voice call with Hung Wenjun was either the best choice he had made, or would be his undoing. He was leaning towards the latter because Wei Ying had a problem. He had a crush. Or he was fairly certain he had a crush. It's not like they haven't been chatting with each other for a while now. Getting to speak with Hung Won-jun was entirely different. He was brilliant. Wei Ying loved that Hung Won-jun was able to match his wit, and he was quite certain that Hung Won-jun was trying not to laugh at some of his jokes. As he hung up the Discord call, he huffed and pouted. The cliche agony of discovering you have a crush on someone you have never met and likely will not meet in person. What a predicament. I've truly made a mess of things this time, he laments while getting ready for bed. The next few days would be quite busy. Wei Ying hoped that meeting with his new accountant would be a decent distraction to get him through the remainder of the week. Several days later, the day started out just like any other day. Lan Zhan had been working through his list of daily tasks, setting reminders, and attending meetings. He had been at his desk for a while, checking up on various accounts when he heard a knock on the doorframe to his office. Lan Zhan looked up to see his brother, Lan Wan, standing in the doorway, a warm and comforting smile gracing his face. Didi, you got the memo about the new client, yes? Ah, the new client. Normally, Lan Zhan wouldn't handle these types of clients or accounts, but on occasions they would do favors for family friends. The favor for Huaisong? That's the one, Lan Wan confirmed. They should be here soon if I'm not mistaken. Let me know how it goes. We can reassign them if needed, since we aren't sure how many assets they currently hold. With that, Lan Wan left Lan Zhan to prepare. When Ne Huaisong was involved, you never knew how big the favor was until it was already happening. Only time would tell. In this instance, it was about 20 minutes later when their new client arrived. Lan Zhan hears the new client before he sees them. They're chatting happily with the intern who's escorting them to Lan Zhan's office. Oh, that was fast! It's then that Lan Zhan hears the client's voice much clearer and his body freezes in shock. He looks up directly at the door to his office. Ah, thank you for your help! Have a great day! Surely it can't be... But it is. It's unmistakable. Undeniable. His new client is the Yiling Laozu, who has a name but he's unable to recall. Time moves in slow motion as Lan Zhan experiences yet another fictional cliché. Lan Zhan is able to see his crush in the flesh, in front of him, here, with the most lovely smile. And he's gorgeous. It's horrific, terrible, and a mortifying ordeal because Lan Zhan is going to have to speak, and then they're both going to know, and then it's going to be a conflict of interest. Lan Zhan's internal screaming is cut off by the Yiling Laozu, who looks slightly concerned. Aya, you look like you've seen a ghost. I mean, I know I got a reputation for the Burial Mounds podcast, but I don't bite. Well, I mean, I can if you want to, but you have to take me out to dinner first. It's the wink at the end that seals Lan Zhan's fate. He's done for, deceased, but he has to do his job. With a deep breath, Lan Zhan speaks with the same confidence and professionalism as he would with any other client. My apologies. I'm Lan Zhan, one of the executive partners at the Lan Financial Group. Huaisong called in a favor on your behalf, and I was assigned to take care of you. Nailed it. As Lan Zhan introduces himself, he notices the Yiling Laozu's reaction. Their eyes widen, and their mouth drops open slightly. Though they have a stack of files in one hand, the other raises slightly to point at Lan Zhan. It would appear they have also come to a realization, recognizing his voice. Ah, but you? And... This soon develops into a mischievous grin. What are the odds, I never thought I'd get the chance to meet Hung Wenjun in person, let alone have them help me manage my assets. They set the files on the chair in front of Lan Zhan's desk before holding out their hand. It's great to meet you, Lanjan. I'm Wei Ying, but you know me better as the Yiling Lao Zu, they say with a wink. Wei Ying is coy and flirty, just like he was in the Discord call earlier in the week.
Wei Ying. It's nice to meet you, Wei Ying. I apologize for my reaction, but like you, I was surprised by the odds as well. I keep my hobbies separate from work for reasons I'm sure you understand.
Lanjan explains, while gesturing for Wei Ying to take a seat. This doesn't faze Wei Ying at all, who jumps right in. Oh, of course, Lanjan. I would never. Professionalism and confidentiality is so important. You don't have anything to worry about. I hope that us meeting in person isn't disappointing or overstepping any boundaries, though. They pout slightly, but do look genuinely concerned. Lanjan's eyes widen. The last thing he wants was to make Wei Ying self-conscious.
No, not at all.
A grin washes over Wei Ying's features. Relax, Lanjan. I'm teasing. Breaking the ice, you know?
Uh, mm,
The playful banter was reassuring.
we should get started. I don't want to disrupt your schedule.
Without missing a beat, Wei Ying jumps right in. Yes. Okay, so I brought everything I could find, and they may not be super organized, but I tried, and this was stressful, Lanjan. I'm not great with numbers, but then again, why would I be here if I didn't need help? The rambling was adorable, and Lanjan had no doubt that Wei Ying definitely needed help. But that was okay, because he was amazing with numbers.
I understand. Thankfully, I am great with numbers. We can get started organizing assets and making sure your finances are diversified properly. You brought copies of the requested documents and originals, yes?
Lanjan gets down to business, in part because that was technically the purpose of Wei Ying's visit. Yes, they should all be here, he says while handing the folders over to Lanjan. Business first, but don't think for a second that we will not be addressing everything else. I mean, if you want to, that is. Lanjan couldn't help but smile. Wei Ying was likely just as nervous, which helped level the playing field a bit.
Business first, Wei Ying.
They got to work. As time passed, Lanjan knew he would need to transfer Wei Ying's account over to his brother as they continued to work together. The small crush he initially had on the faceless Yiling Lao Zu only continued to blossom as he spent more time in person with Wei Ying. This was quickly becoming a conflict of interest despite his best efforts. Lanjan found himself unable to maintain the separation between being a professional accountant and financial advisor and his growing relationship with Wei Ying. They no longer met over Discord or just communicated through Discord. Wei Ying had finished the Podfic for Yearning, and it was magnificent, well received and loved within the fic enjoying community. Lanjan totally did not listen to it when he missed Wei Ying or have a carefully crafted playlist of Wei Ying's podfics. In the months following their awkward but pleasantly surprising encounter, Wei Ying and Lanjan started meeting at local cafes when their schedules allowed. They texted every day and chatted over video calls often. They were spending more and more time with each other. At this point, they had both spent the night at each other's apartments, and there was a physical closeness between them. Light touches, familiarity, Wei Ying falling asleep against him after they watched a movie, Lanjan falling asleep against Wei Ying after accidentally drinking a sip of alcohol. Of course, Lanjan enjoyed all of this, but it was harder to determine where lines or boundaries existed. Everything was so comfortable and felt so right. Their relationship was far beyond acquaintances at this point. Lanjan felt they were more than just friends, though they had never discussed anything. He wanted to be with Wei Ying, hold Wei Ying's hand, to kiss Wei Ying. However, he wasn't sure if Wei Ying felt the same and didn't want to lose what they had. He needed to know for sure. The first step, though, would be transferring accounts off to his brother. Then, discuss things with Wei Ying. Ugh, why song? A muffled yet pitiful whine could be heard throughout the studio. Wysung looked up from his magazine to see Wang slumped across their couch, It was all dramatic and very amusing to see Wei Ying lamenting over their fic writer turned financial advisor turn whatever was going on between them that was clearly more than a crush. They just needed a kiss and get it over with. They were clearly perfect for each other and already spent all of their free time with one another. Perhaps one more nudge was necessary. Best to play along so that his very important magazine time could continue uninterrupted. You don't get to know everything and nothing at all without some effort. Playing along, he answers, Hmm? This is met with a groan. Ugh, I'll need a little bit more than that, Wing. I'm good, but not that good, he says with his customer service voice. There were more mumbles and a huff before Wang finally shared what was bothering him. Why, Song? Why would he just transfer my account to his brother? Also, to do this and not say anything to me? I thought we were close. We spent so much time together, and he's amazing. Why would I want anyone else managing my assets? Wang whines. From Huaisung's perspective, Wang was actually quite bothered with the change, and it's something he found very amusing. Wang, Huanga is just as amazing. You'll be in good hands with him. Wang rolls his eyes in response. That's all fine and well, but I want Lenjun. Wang sits up and rests his chin on the palm of his hand. Do you think Lenjun is annoyed with me? This earns a snort from Huaisung, who places his magazine down. Wei Ying, have you even talked to Lenjun yet? Don't jump to conclusions. There's probably an explanation behind why he transferred your account. Wei Ying grumbles but agrees. Yeah, you're right. I haven't had a chance to talk to him yet. That still doesn't stop me from worrying, though. Then he gets quiet. I really like him, Huaisung. More than like him. Lunjun's an amazing writer. He's brilliant. I want to create things and make more podfics with him by my side. He has the most gorgeous voice, and he doesn't even know, and I've been trying to get him to make a podfic with me forever. It's a tragedy, Huaisung. And then, it's just been so nice when we stayed at each other's places. Waking up, and he's there doing some morning yoga? Well-defined back muscles and abs you want to lick. Also, who wouldn't want to kiss him? He's perfect, and I think I may love him. Wang trails off. Look, Wang, I don't know why you're telling me these things. I think both of you will finally be on the same page if you just talk to each other, Huaisung says while moving to cross one leg over the other. Go sort it out, and for fuck's sake, just kiss already, he says while picking up his magazine again, throwing it just high enough that Wang doesn't see his satisfied smile as the other man rushes out of their studio. His job is done. Lunjun was finishing up some paperwork so that he could meet Wang for dinner. He had planned to explain why he transferred Wang's account then and only hoped it would all be okay. However, as he was packing up, the door to his office burst open again. It's Wei Ying, and based on his concerned expression, he had discovered the change. Wing? He starts, but isn't able to finish. Lenjun, why did you transfer my account? He exclaims, while closing the door behind him. He proceeds to march behind Lenjun's desk and pokes him. Gently, of course. I thought you liked me. We make podfics together. You know my alias, my secrets? Why don't you want to manage my accounts anymore? Wang looks genuinely sad. Anjan sits his briefcase back on his desk and grabs Wang in a tight hug. Wang, I wanted to talk with you about the transfer at dinner tonight. Of course, I like you. That's why I needed to transfer your account. I like you more. I like you more than just a friend. He pulls back so he can look Wang in the eyes, his hands moving slowly down to Wang's hips in the process. I want more with you. Wang's eyes were wide as they stared back at him. A light, lovely blush had developed along his cheeks. And what exactly does more consist of? He asked shyly. It was Lunjun's turn to be shy as he felt his own face, more specifically, his ears warm. Wang, wrapping his arms around Lan Zhen's neck, smiles at him, taking the chance to tease him just a little. What was that, Lan Zhen? You're going to have to speak up. Making eye contact again, ears flaming hot, Lan Zhen begins again, this time without mumbling.
I want to be with Wei Ying every day.
He moves a hand to slightly cup Wang's cheek.
I want to go on adventures with you, be creative with you, wake up next to you. I want everything, but only if you want that too.
Wang leaned into Lan Zhen's touch, his eyes filled with such delight and loving warmth. Yeah, Lan Zhen, you silly man. Of course I want that. I guess it makes sense why you need to transfer my account, he says sheepishly. I can see how that would be a conflict of interest now, but in my defense, I was clearly under duress.
I will do my best to take responsibility,
Lan Zhen teased. Good, that's only fair. Wang pouted playfully before grinning. You know, you could start by kissing me. I have on good authority that it would be very well received. Lan Zhen wastes no time cupping the back of Wang's neck, pulling him closer. He kisses Wang gently at first. As their lips meet, the entirety of the world fades away. The only thing that remains is them. Their lips brush and envelop one another's with a fierce, all-consuming passion, like they're quenching a deep-seated thirst. It's beautiful. It's perfect. Lan Zhen wants even more. They are both quickly reminded that their makeout session is currently taking place in a very public setting when they hear a knock on the door. They both freeze, lips still locked together as they hear, Didi, are you busy? The intern said Wang showed up, but... The door handle turns, and the door opens to reveal Lan Huan, who quickly realizes he walked in on an intimate moment, given that they had yet to untangle themselves from each other.
Ah, well then.
Lan Huan laughs gently. I'll circle back with you both at later times, though you might want to consider moving to a more private setting, nosy people and such. Is all Lan Zhen is able to muster, though his brother is correct. Wang laughs nervously. You're absolutely correct. Lan Zhen, let's go get that dinner you promised me. They make haste and book it out of the office, opting to get takeout while they head back to Wang's apartment because it's closer. Several more months pass and they moved in with each other, still making podfics and writing fanfics, now thriving on each other's creative energy. Lan Zhen was in the process of writing his first book with encouragement from Wei Ying, who insisted on recording the audiobook once it was published. Lan Zhen felt so fulfilled, as did Wei Ying, and they lived happily ever after. The end. Thanks for listening to Your Words, My Voice, written by Average Fandom Enjoyer, read by Gem Asteria, art by Kanogi. If you enjoyed this reading, I encourage you to subscribe to my podcast on Spotify, AOE, or a platform of your choosing. I also encourage you to leave kudos on the original fic, which is linked in the episode show notes, as well as linked in my AOE post.